Hey, Subs, everybody. Um, I wear all the hats here, so you have to forgive me as we jiggle around a little bit. Like I said, I wear all the hats here. Welcome back to the Lady Hippie, and we are wicked and at my bar. No Uber necessary. I'm coming to you from Augusta, Georgia. My second channel, long story short, bad accident, couldn't kind of move, took me over a year to get on my feet. And I am so glad to be back. I had to open a second channel, so those of you who are looking for me at Lady Hippie, just add Lady Happy Wicked, or Wicked Lady Hippie rather at the bar, even I don't know it. Let me throw in live chat up here. Guys, there's so much we could talk about, but just from one hippie to another hippie, I'm getting tired of them, for one, grouping me with the baby boomers. That's like, for real? No. I was out wearing hot pants, bell bottoms. I was the one with the flower power. I was the one out there going, make marijuana legal. It took us a long time, but apparently we hippies did succeed in that. They will now send it to your door. I'm a Army veteran, published author, mother of one, grandmother of two, and with two of my step grandson and my grandson are both Army veterans. Actually, my step grandson is still active duty Army field medic in Korea. He had heard all my stories about Fort Sam Houston when I used to train him back. We were the first company of women to train with the men. The WAC Corps was disbanded. It was the small window we had between wars. But he kept hearing my stories about Europe and in particular Fort Sam Houston. I'd spent a lot of time there, and I kept moving back to San Antonio. And after he had enlisted and he got through boot camp and he was in training at Fort Sam Houston, he called us and let us know that Grandma was right, and that was what incited him to go, and that he was at Fort Sam Houston. I was so thrilled. Did you go to the Slitterbond? Did you do all this stuff? How's the Alamo now? Because they were working on it when I left. My husband's from Georgia, and he has a daughter. And we have three grandsons or grandchildren. Two grandsons, one granddaughter on his side, and we have a grandson and a granddaughter on my side. But we're parents to both. It's the way it goes. I was a single mother for many years. He was not a single father. Um, we did end up getting custody of her. So I left Texas and I came here. I don't regret doing that to get my stepdaughter, but I regret leaving San Antonio many times a day. So up here, I told my family I wanted to try it. It was just an experiment I wanted to do because I thought this was just better than the invention of AC, which says volumes, because I can't be in anything over 75-degree weather. I just can't do it. I can't breathe, can't do all that stuff. Bad accident once again. In any event, so I'm up here going, we're the hippies. We're retired. My husband and I are retired. We work more now than we did when we were doing two jobs, raising kids and going to college, because they changed that shit on. I was IT a lot after I got out of the military, and it was, did you unplug it and plug it back? So we were constantly revising all stuff. Hippies didn't have time to go out and mess with nobody. We sat around, just like the 70s show, and now it's legal. Like I said, they bring it to my door. My BA knows. I love the gummy bears. So it's so awesome, and it's not on that side of the illegal so-called drug. It's on a different strand, so it's now a good thing. I don't question anymore. I'm tired. I worked and lived government for most of my life, and I'm seen by the VA. That is always has been my primary caregiver. Since I was 17. I enlisted at 17. I was reading college level at 9, so I kind of right through there, ROTC, boom, 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 fast as I could go. Grabbed a couple of diplomas and undergraduate at college, and phew, my only thing that my cousins and nephews didn't tell me, this is Vietnam era, don't go in with any rank. I had a couple of chevrons by then, which means in the Army, shit rose uphill. We were the first company of women. We had Vietnam Airborne Rangers for drill sergeants. So I think that gives y'all an idea. And they asked us, if you want to go back, we'll send you back home on our dime, kind of thing. And it won't mess up your record or anything, but there's no longer any WAC, whatever corps. It's all regular military now. And we're like, bring it. I had never touched a weapon in my life. The first time they handed me a live grenade and they were standing there and there's two of them. And I was like, Sergeant, and my CO was there, sir, what y'all doing standing here? Well, we got to wait till you. No. I got picked last at softball. Y'all got to go. This concrete barrier here just ain't enough. And it was 2 feet above my head. I had to clear that. And I'm like, of course, you practice, you do these things. I miss my M16 to this day. We have a huge, I call it my armory, but they're all locked up because various grandchildren, children, nephews, nieces, all that. But now I'm old and I'm not going to run after you and I'm not going to say, hey, I have a gun. I'm going to paint your ass and pull a trigger, which I advise all of you who carry concealed carry to do. The life you save may not be just your own. And that's happened several times recently. And it was also the reason that I decided in my 20s to continue to carry as a civilian. There's a long story behind that too. I need to write more books. But I want you guys to come out here and say, oh, yes, I saw you. I love my gold mine. My son and my husband, when I said I wanted to try this, they got me 2 starter kits. And now I have like 5 sets. Friends and family will not come on. They don't understand how I do this. And again, I think this is the best thing since AC. Get up here, hippies. They're blaming us for shit we never had a chance to do. We wasn't in Congress, the Senate, the House. We wasn't in government. That's not us. That's the generation before us and right at the end of us. We hippies didn't do this shit because if we hippies were running it, we wouldn't have been in wars. We wouldn't left Bagram Air Force Base after delivering billions in cash and leaving, you know, Blackhawks sitting there. Come on. The, we had weekend at Barney's for 4 years. We had millions cross into our borders. And when Trump left office, there was still plenty to finish that wall. And it was just unbelievable. It was like, okay, we're good. You don't need an ID to vote, but you sure as hell need an ID. If they stop you in a car, everybody in the car is supposed to have an ID. And yet I have seen shots on YouTube following officers and they'll pull over a vehicle. This was some time ago, not now. But they would pull them over and go, do you have a driver's license? No. Where are you from? Laredo. Where are you going? California. You think that's going to be a good thing? And one of these 5 people, I need their IDs. I don't have them. Okay, do you speak English? No. So they go back, they radio in. They're like, what do we do with them? Do you guys want to pick them up? You want ice to pick them up? Nah, just let them go. We can't do nothing with them anyway. And lately, I've seen the CDLs that are given to those who drive trucks. My husband's done it for 50 years at least, if not more. Yeah, we're not young. Thank you, though. And he had to go through hoops, stand on his hands, and pay, almost $1,000 to get his CDLs. Well, those from India who want a CDL, who want to drive a big rig, they just go to California. Can they read and write English? No, they can't, but they give them a CDL. And there's been, I don't know how many accidents now where they've killed people. A semi is just a loaded fucking missile. No, this is not for kids. And sometimes the army shows up. It's a bar. Join me. Let's talk. I'd like to think that I'm not the only hippie that is saying, just a freaking minute. I didn't want nobody at a war. We went to war with Iraq. And I kept saying, why Iraq? Because all of the people that were in on the 9/11 or 9/11, as they say, disaster were from Saudi Arabia. So while we were in Iraq, what was that all about? I don't know, but they did topple the regime and so forth. And it was a nasty dictatorship then. And so far as but why couldn't their own people do that? I just don't think we should be the police of the entire world. I don't think that we should be paying for the police for the entire world. And on this, I agree with Donnie, President Trump. I mean, no offense by that. Donnie's funny. But if he can call Kid Rock Bob, I know he understands where I'm coming from. Pocahontas, right? But when I started this, I've been watching Joe Rogan. Hey, Joe. Been watching you since News Radio. Loved the cheer routine. That was so awesome. Sorry, so sorry what happened there at the end. And I still mourn. He was a great actor and a kind man. But you've been doing great, and I was glad to see that you were in Austin. Shay Shay, watched him a lot. Bill Maher, and his was at a bar. And when I got started, we had just installed a bar. We had redesigned the entire bottom floor to accommodate this huge bar. It's a Remington, so it's like a horseshoe. It takes up the dining room with a big mirror that matches, on the other side. And, we've got the ice maker, we've got the small refrigerator, we've got all this stuff. We could run a regular bar, no lie. Literally, we could. So it's kind of not pay attention behind me wherever I'm at here. My husband brought me 6 dozen roses. I fell ill this week, and he brought 6 dozen roses in. He knows I love roses, and he was spoiling me. And we've been married a long time. Both our birthdays are coming up this month. We're 3 days apart, and our anniversary is always this month as well. I'm not going to say how many years, but it's been too many. Ask him; he'll tell you. He's a good man, and my son considers him father, and my grandchildren, of course, were both raised by him and his as well, and they've always been kind to me, and they know I'm step grandma, but they have another grandma as well. But since we're in Augusta, Georgia, here, they are down below Macon, down in middle Georgia, and it's like a 4 hour drive. And I got hurt so badly that in my back and stuff, so I can't really go. So my husband went out and bought like this Wonder Lodge, this huge RV. It's like taking an apartment. It's pretty awesome, really. I used to work for Wonder Lodge, so I was kind of tripped out that I now owned one because I always thought they were like way too expensive. So, and we don't use it very often. And my husband's one, he took it off and out of the house one time to a reunion, and I couldn't make it. I was still bedridden, and that was fun. So he went for like a day and another day, and then came back that night. And that was great. The year before that, he had gone in again. I couldn't go. It took me almost 3 years to recuperate. And that time, we still had the Cadillac SUV, and people were tripping. And it was we have a dark green on both that and his truck, so his boat works with all that. And the RV is drivable. We also have a pull behind. But he thought when he bought that he could take me. But unfortunately, that didn't work out so well. We tried just around town to see how well I could do. I couldn't do it. It was too painful. But it had good shocks, but it's just too painful. And so we're hoping maybe in a year or two, when the rest of me solidifies around all the metal I've got, I have more metal than my fucking car. It's just saying. But I said, this is this great medium, and we should be up here talking. We should be up here going, no, wait a damn minute. We didn't put three immigrants in Congress. We didn't take three refugees and go, you just love America. We're going to put you in Congress where we make our laws. Laws for thee, but none for me. And I'm like, I don't know where that came in because when I was in school, which was admittedly some time ago, but History 101 was you could not hold a political office unless you were a natural born citizen. And I can name three in Congress that are not naturally born citizens. I'm not sure if they were naturally born at all. And they hate America. Ilhan Omar. Oh, she's lovely, isn't she? She's just so cute. I don't know how many millions she has scanned, but it's been a lot since she's from Minnesota. Oh, where'd all that go? And it took a literal podcaster like me to drive to Minnesota and start looking for these learning centers where all this money had been going for like a decade. There weren't nobody in there. And then they tried to say the guy came too early because they run it at night. I also have seen clips of them finally repossessing their Lamborghinis. No, it's for the children. It's for the children. What are you going to do? Strap them children to the top? I mean, it's two bucket seats. You can't get two people in there that weigh over 100 pounds. What chilling? But it took us to go, hey, wait the. This is what I'm saying. Now, the generation, I don't know if they call it Generation G, Generation Z, whatever it is. I have, there's 20 years difference between myself and my son, 20 years difference between himself and his first son, oldest son. He has a daughter. She's almost 15. And I'm freaked because her birthday's just in a few days. She's an August baby, too. She's turning 15. She's beautiful. One of those beauties that is, the tall, lanky type, kind of like a Brooke Shields kind of thing going on. She does not need makeup. She uses very little, but she does do some, and does her nails because, as she put it, Grandma's always so well groomed. I love that statement. I was like, groomed. The fuck are you saying? I'm like, yeah. And they know me well. My son, one time at a dinner that we were all there for, my grandson was pissing me off. He was talking about CNN, and that's guaranteed to piss me off. It's fake news. It's all fake news. If you can call it news, it's just about politics. And if there is any news, it's fake about the politicians. Now, when you've got 7 new volcanoes going off and 3 earthquakes hit Japan, Italy, and Spain, you can't find that. You maybe can find it on the Weather Channel. Huh? I usually find it on YouTube. You sure as fuck can't find that shit on CNN again, adults only. I'm allowed to have. I had to quit smoking, so I vape a lot. And my husband felt pity on me because some friends of ours, they like to hang out at my bar. I think it's because we keep up, as they put it, the top line alcohol. So they come in and drink all the alcohol. They don't bring a bottle. No, although one of them does bring Bud Light, they don't drink harder liquor. For me, I like my whiskey on the rocks. I don't care for a beer. I will drink an ale now and then, especially real hot and the ale's real cold. Beer, no. Never been a beer drinker, couldn't do it. Wine would give you a headache and a terrible hangover. So I like to take me 3 or 4 shots of whiskey, a good whiskey or a good scotch. And I'm not sitting there sipping a freaking pina colada. It's just not me. By the way, we women all graduated boot camp with honors. I mean, I got sharpshooters, so a lot of my girls. So let me remind all of you that when we trained in OD Green with real Army boots. Nowadays, that's not the way it is. I see these women in shorts and t-shirts and things just jungling. No, that's just not right. You're supposed to be there to be regular Army, to be a soldier. You're not supposed to be there to see how well you fill out your t-shirt. I disagree with all that. This Velcro shit, I disagree with that. I spent more time shining my brass than making sure it was an inch here or two, whatever, because they would check that shit, let alone our boots. And I mean, these guys don't have to do jack. They just get the shit put on and go. Hey, a soldier. There's reasons for all that shit. Let me put it that way. Um, I got my nickname there. It's in the title. My CO saw that I was the only one with rank. 5'2", maybe 90 pounds wet. All the uniforms fell off. They had to tailor them. Meanwhile, they tied them onto me. I kid you not. We stuffed newspaper in the boots because they weren't ready for women. And I was the smallest. And then our biggest girl was 6'1". She was my buddy. But the CO, he's supposed to freak us out. And he's like, bullet. Yes, sir. I knew it was coming. I said, you got rank. Yes, sir. So I'm trying not to laugh at this point. I've been up 4 days. Just looking at him made me laugh. I've never been real intelligent on that. He says, you sure you're from Cook County, Chicago, Illinois? It's like, last time I checked, yes. Being the smartest. He looks up from the papers and he's like, really? You don't have any record? And you come from Chicago? I find that strange. I said, well, I worked real hard about that. He said, okay, I tell you what. I see you're here. You're a nurse. You're qualified as a nurse. You're a qualified secretary, shorthand, top-notch skills. And I was like, thank you, sir. I studied hard. I was going in the WAC corps where you could be a nurse or a secretary. It's like that. Well, we need you. I think he's being nice. No, he wasn't. It was after I ended up, graduating boot camp, but that's another story. So he said, all right, from now on, I call you Wicked. And when I call you, you need to jump. I was like, oh, fuck me. And I just fell out laughing because just after he had said that, he said, we jump out of helicopters and kill people. That's what we're used to. So like I said, when I call you, you need to move. And I just fell down on the ground laughing. Like 30 people did the same thing. And at one point, even him and the XO started laughing. It was like catching, we've been up 4 days. And finally they went, okay, we've had our fun. Get your shit upstairs, squared away. We'll come inspect it. We didn't know what the hell they were going to inspect, but we were given little things that said, here's your t-shirts. You know, somebody came up with this is your, because you had two pair of boots. I went and got jump boots because they were much better than what they got. So yeah, I mean, it was something. We women took top honors. We were treated as sisters and aunts and mothers and so forth. They respected us totally, and it was a great experience. And I enjoyed and I still enjoy being at the VA and seeing my old guys. Because once you're military, I don't care, Navy or whatever it is, and you can associate the same way. You're soldiers, and so it's old home week whenever you go. So I miss that. And then I used to volunteer, but I can't do it anymore. Again, due to the accident and health, I just can't do it. So I'm stuck being retired and being at home. And this was what I wanted to try before I was so injured. So I just got back up. This is my second channel. So if you see me, throw something in live chat. Tell me what's going on in the world. Tell me what you agree with, don't agree with, whatever you want to talk about, anything, everything's on the table. I believe in reincarnation, and it's been proven by the way in the court of law in New York. Want more info, let me know. And I believe in the paranormal because I've been researching it since I was 9. When tape recorders were this big, and they were reel to reel and took 500 batteries, that's when I started. Ed and Lorraine Warren, God bless you. May your memories be a blessing. Were my guys. So all of those things I would love to talk about. I would love to talk about the fact that we hippies are not responsible for the freaking mess that they did with the freaking border. Now, I'm really also tired of seeing people get up here on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. I just use YouTube and do this live. Uh, don't get in my face and call me this, that, or the other. Tell me I got to call you some pronoun, whatever the hell that is. That's none of mine. I didn't walk up to your ass with a bullhorn and tell you you got to snap to and give me 50 push-ups because you a dumbass, which, trust me, I've been tempted to do. You don't have the right to tell me shit. In the United States, everybody has the freedom of speech. That would be us included. So apparently, there's more than one color in the crayon box. There's white in there too. Now, white doesn't. What does white mean? Does that mean all of us are the same? Fuck no, it doesn't. For one, I actually took a DNA test. My son insisted on for Christmas because I was adopted, and I kept telling him I was British. I have pure hazel eyes, true hazel. And it's only like 4% of the entire population of the world that have those, and strawberry blonde. Pale skins. I knew I was from Britain, and probably Scotland, Wales was, and it's exactly what I got back. So, hey, it doesn't just mean you're white, but you want us to call you by this or that tribe or this or that pronoun or verb or what the fuck all. We all bleed red. Are you going to sit up there when you dying and tell them you want somebody that went to the parade for Pride last week? Good luck with fucking that. You're going to need it. And death is death. I only can smoke these little cigarillos here while I'm on air. Say, pardon me, Matt. They get mad at me sometimes that I have to edit my videos because I might have some music bleeding in. I thought a radio was okay. Everybody can hear that. Everybody shares videos, but apparently if you have music on in your videos, it's a no. But I can throw any video that's out there on, whatever, YouTube, Instagram. I can pull that video and show that, which to me is plagiarism because everybody's seen it anyway. But if y'all won't talk about a certain one and you want me to drop it in there, let me know. I'm kind of more like Bill Maher. I'm at the bar. Come see me, talk to me, call me. Well, if you send the information, I'll let you know where I can be reached. That doesn't mean you come to my house instantly, but like Bill Maher, you could probably get to my house eventually, to my bar. Cheers. Mm, just a sweet taste. I'm trying not to drink as much today. My husband buy these whiskey fireballs, and this is big burst of cinnamon. Well, he couldn't get my little airplane bottles, and so he got me this huge bottle because he knows I like that cinnamon. So that he found the only one they had, which is my It's a bourbon, by the way. It's a kind of a okay. It's really a whiskey, but to me, it's kind of like a bourbon too. So, in any event, yeah, it will fuck me up running because I didn't eat nothing. I've been running around doing stuff all day because yesterday it was raining, and I don't like to drive in now. I have to get my license renewed this month as well because of my age, and they want to do an eye test. So I'm already going, oh God, if I don't pass that, they're not gonna let me have my license. And I've been so ill and not able to do anything but see my surgeons and so forth, wheeled in a gurney for 2 years. And I'm finally on my feet. This is year 3. And so I'm like, oh my God. So I'm trying to get through to the VA. This is not an easy thing, as everyone who's a veteran knows. It's not easy to get up there. So I can try and make an appointment so I can get in and get my eyes seen and at least have the prescription to show them. I don't drive but maybe 20 miles a month because I have a Kroger and a Walmart both within a mile and a half, 2 miles. So round trip is 6 miles basically at best. And that's if I stop in a couple of stores on the way or on the way back. So I have this loop. And I don't like to drive in the rain because I had a terrible accident one time in that. And there went that car. Yeah. So I'm leery to do that. But when my husband's busy, he's like, he says he's a shade tree mechanic. He's a top notch driver, instructor for big wheel, whatever you want to call it, semi driving. And he did that for many, 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 many decades since we were married. And he would stop doing it and he would go back to being, and he's an ace mechanic as well, GM trained and all that. And he would fall back to that because he would miss me while I was on the road. And then if he got another job, depending on what was going on, I could go with him. One friend of ours ran 4 trucks, and so he and his brother ran for them. And I was never home. I was always out there with him on the road. So we have tons of shot glasses from everywhere. And I got to see more of the states than I had seen when I was active duty. I was over in Europe. And so, Germany, Italy, Spain, all of those are the ones that I got to see. France is some. Try not up there. Went you're losing me. Have we got me back? No, not yet. My headphones go. There they go. If I move the wrong way, the headphone. We've got 4 sets. Like right now, this one actually, I usually have a headband down because they drop down to my chin. So I'm trying to keep them upright without moving a lot. I see my half hour. So I try to do an hour, mainly because I just want to get fucked up at the bar before I have to go do shit. And this goes out all the time. That's why it lets me have them. This thing will probably last me all week. I should say he lets me have them. My son fusses. And he fusses, but I don't buy them myself. He gets them for me. He puts them in a humidifier. I'm sorry, humidor, up here on the bar, underneath the bar. And if we have guests, a lot of them smoke these. So if they run out while they're here, and they've got to be picked up by Uber or somebody who's not drinking. So we'll pull one out for them while they're waiting or what have you. So they just get real comfortable at the house. It's like their local bar. We have a lot of people that do that. None of them will come on. Like I said, they're astonished that I can do it. They watch sometimes. A lot of them have only seen one episode or two back on the other channel. Some will, and none of them have subscribed. Text me because it's a fairly long title. They'll text me and I'll get there. They never get there. Pretty soon, when they come over, pretty soon I'm going to give them the low shelf alcohol. You didn't bring nothing? Okay, here you go. That's some vodka. Mm. So back in the background, for recovery on one leg that was just, the ankle was disconnected. It was a bad thing. And I got a lot of metal in there. And I was doing physical therapy. I just quit doing that at the VA. I'm okay because I'm in shoes. And my husband bought me the cutest shoes, I got to say, ladies. The old fashioned kind of come up above the ankle and they zip up the back. They look like lace sandals. I get a lot of compliments on those. I switched, you can't see, but I switched to, before I got injured, I had switched to like the vintage style dressing. I had always worn a suit. I had very few jeans. And I had tried in the interim to wear jeans. and I didn't care for it that much. I don't mind wearing them. I just didn't care for them that much. I like outfits that I can just transition. If somebody calls me and I'm going to go to lunch, I don't going to change. And if I do, it takes me 4 minutes. I just throw on a cute little sundress or whatever, snappy sandals, accessorize, and I'm out the door. And it's like yesterday, my husband said, "Well," and he knows I won't go anywhere if I'm not ready to go. And if I think it's going to take me an hour to get ready, I'll say, "Let's do it tomorrow." And so he came in and said, "You look fantastic. You want to go out and eat?" I was like, "Yeah." And everywhere I went, at that point, it was Golden Corral. We'd stopped in there because he has trouble. He beat stage 4 throat cancer, but he has trouble eating still. And so we get it to go. But everywhere I was walking around, women kept stopping me. Where'd you get that? Where'd you get this? What'd you do? And this is true everywhere I go. It's kind of cool. I was out for that like almost 2 years. So when I went back to my Walmart, they were like, and they were yelling my name, and they were all running. How you doing? I had been in there a couple of times in a wheelchair, but only a couple in 2 years. So they knew I had been severely injured. So it's nice to have your locals do that. We've been here 15 years, longest place I've ever lived in my life. Um, Including if I add up Texas time, it'd be about the same. But here it's been 15 years. When my granddaughter turns 15 in a few days, it'll have been 15 years. Actually, before that, we took in their starter home so that they could buy a bigger home and a newly built home. So we said, okay, we gave up our lake house. We were buying a lake house in middle Georgia. So instead of doing that, we came and bought the smaller home, their starter home. And it's just the two of us. We have 3 beds and 2 bath. We turned the upstairs. We changed it all during the pandemic, and we made 2 apartments upstairs. So I mean, the microwave, the mini fridge, all that's there. So it's basically an apartment. And when my grandson came in from Korea, he did not reenlist. I don't blame him. And so he stayed with me. He was just ahead of them closing the airports and any planes coming in when he left Korea. And he was not sure if he was going to make it home at one point. So he stayed with us for about a year during the pandemic. And finally, that was being eased up because you couldn't look for work because everything was closed. It was a terrible time for the United States, well, for the world. Like Fossey, Fosse's up there going, I'm pleading the Fifth Amendment. Why? He's already been pardoned for everything and anything. There's nothing that they can do to him, and he's being tried for contempt. Josh Harley, Senator Harley said, "What color is my tie? I have to plead the fifth. What color is the carpet in front? I gotta plead." He pled the fifth 111 times. Like why? Obviously, he was guilty of all the above. That man made millions. Mind you, I give him credit. He's like 84. He doesn't look it. It's good to be the king. So any of these people, just like Minnesota, that they know stole billions. We're not talking millions; they stole billions. Omar had a tax return of $30 million for last year. After it hit the airwaves, that she had made $30 million, and her winery had never sold or even had a bottle of wine, so it couldn't have been from there. And her salary is only 175,000 a year. I say the word only because that seems to be just not enough for these people, and they all come out of there rich. No insider trading going on there. Martha Stewart was she was so railroaded. It's just phenomenally awful. I love her and Snoop Dogg, by the way. I like Martha. She hang out with Snoop Dogg. She's in my crowd. So again, I wanted the hippies to kind of come back and say, hey, it's we're the hippies. We didn't want 20 years of war. We didn't want you guys going into Iran, but we agreed kind of sort of because it was supposed to be nothing but plane sorties. And at first, that's all that was. And now we're trying to hang out of the Strait of Hormuz for the oil flow. They're attacking around the Horn there in Africa. The Houthis are, and now we got to supposedly go wipe them out. And I'm like, yeah, and the Israelis, of course, have done their best that they're right there with us. None of the rest of the allies were. I was so disheartened by the United Kingdom. And I just love the royal family. I don't like King Charles III because of Diana. I adored her. And he was an asshole. And he left that woman, he left Lady Diana, not just Princess, but Lady Diana, who they even made sure was a virgin before he married, to go with the whore Camilla, who was already married and was whoring around with him, and everybody knew it. And that's now the queen. And Diana's grandkids are there. And so I'm not real happy about that. But I love the way William and Kate have handled it. I love them as a couple. I love the kids. They do some cute stuff, especially young Louie. Um, but I see hatred while they protest, and the colleges said, oh, what they did in Palestine was genocide and all that. I was like, for one, I don't know why the IDF said it's okay for them to have a rave next to the Gaza and have a chain link fence there to protect them. No, nobody else. We're not going to have battalions of IDF sitting there checking things. These people just cut the fucking wires and went on in with scooters and cars and trucks and hang gliders and shit. They killed 3,000 kids, and the very next day, they were college kids are out there saying, "Well, they deserved it." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Even my son called me and said, "Mom, I don't agree with this. Don't come kill me." They're so bad that when they come to my house, even though I was injured so badly, and they would call me, and I'd say, "Go ahead, the door's unlocked," because I had to get in a wheelchair and do all this other stuff. So my husband would say, "You want it unlocked?" And I was always harmed on it. Yeah, unlock it. I miss my dogs because of that reason. But in any event, they would come and yell, and it's me, Grandma, don't shoot. And when their friends were with them, they're like, I'm not fucking going in. And they're like, no, she doesn't shoot people like that. She just... So I didn't actually need it, thank goodness. But you never know. If I'd been living in Texas twice, my home was invaded while I was inside with a baby. And had I not been armed, I don't think it would have turned out very well. I mean, I chased them out of my house firing. I don't go, hey, I got a gun. I just start shooting your ass. No, they know what they're doing they're not there to say hi, welcome neighbor, here's some brownies, okay? So, and by the way, women in particular, don't tell them where you are. Don't tell them you got a weapon. Just start shooting, and make sure you got a spare clip in your pants or your pocket, or like me, stuck to the weapon. I was doing that shit long before Tomb Raider, snapping that shit, and velcroing it onto my legs and stuff. Then they showed it on Tomb Raider. I was like, man, we hippies did that. So I see a lot of stuff like that, and I think it's time for the hippies to come out and say, hey, we're lovers of peace. We love our country. We love our kids. We love our guns. And we love our Bibles, or whatever we decide to choose as freedom of religion. Being Jehovah Witness, which one of my actually real half brothers is a minister of. I always call him the hypocrite, but he that's his religion, and biggest hypocrite I ever met. But I was raised Catholic myself. I don't believe in organized religion, but I do believe in religion per se. I just keep studying them. Jesus himself said that there would be many false prophets, many false churches before he showed back up, and that nobody would know the hour or the day that he would return. Not even he, only the Father knew. So it's not like he could say, I'll be there in 2022 AD or what have you. He couldn't do that. But he did give you warnings. And I keep seeing stuff on the news now. I'm like, oh, that's so biblical. I saw a camel fucking floating by in Dubai. And I'm like, okay, I can say I've seen everything now. Nope. It wasn't everything. But when you see stuff like that, or me anyway, you got new volcanoes. Santorini in one day had 7,000 earthquakes. They're evacuating people. There's, volcanoes that weren't going off or going off. We've got earthquakes in diverse areas, including the United States. Japan and Italy just got hit last week, maybe the week before, with 7.1 and I think a 4.7 for Italy. And a 4, I've been in Italy and I was in an earthquake while I was there. The laundromat I was in, I grabbed the women, screaming at them and shoving them outdoors. And that whole thing went down behind us. I had my baby in my arms, and I ended up, of course, I was duty. All my uniforms were in there. I was in uniform though when I went. So I took my baby in, and they took care of my baby, and I was part of the rescue. It was horrific. It was, especially on the dogs. I would cry because the dogs, they would be so sad when it was a recovery and not a rescue. And it quickly became a lot of recovery. The streets were doing it was like somebody shook a rug. I had never been in an earthquake. I'd been in tornadoes and hurricanes and been airlifted from buildings for floods and stuff, but I had not been in an earthquake. I knew what it was immediately. And I knew there wasn't in that area, there wouldn't be a tsunami. But when I saw the actual tsunami, it was at '09 that came through, and people were looking around at the dying fish. I'm like, run. These people did not know that a tsunami was coming in. And I was absolutely gobsmacked by how hundreds of people went to look at the stuff, the fish and all that stuff. And I thought, oh my God, have you ever seen TV? That just, that was what gobsmacked me more. And that tsunami killed almost 300,000 people. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. The earthquakes and stuff that have shaken Haiti so bad, Haiti's never been rebuilt. Now, most of them, I understand, are now coming through France into Spain. They're just the way they did through the United States when Biden said, well, that's okay. We don't need a border. And what happened? We're not going to they're not coming over here going, we're the doctors, we're the nurses, we're the teachers. No, 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 no. Those people are not the ones who break into your country. You get the murderers, you get the rapists, you get the thieves, you get the sadists, you do not get the good people. And if you're going to get good people, like our first lady, who is wonderfully, enormously graceful and charming, and is a great first lady, both the last 4 years and this 4 years. She's an amazing woman. Barron is also something else. He really is. Big boy. I like him. But none of this stuff seems to be penetrating in certain areas. And they're blaming, like I said, they kind of lump the hippies in as well, because we're like right there at that edge group of time, some of us. I think they think that most hippies are 50. They're not. If they're 50s, I'm not sure. I don't even think they're in the hippie generation. I have to look. I know it's usually decades, but I don't believe in those labels. But hippie, I believe in. I don't believe that we should be standing back and saying, oh, well, we don't appreciate this while we're talking to somebody's principal and they pepper spray us and drag us out because we said, we don't want the kids praying Muslim in class. I kind of disagree with that. I got several fired with my kids for and because they did stupid shit. And I went straight to where I had to go, right over their heads. And since you put it back in there again, I'll be back with the news crew. And those people did not come back. But now they pepper spray you, the parent, and drag you out. Somebody, I had to have bail money. I'm bad enough because I got one daughter or granddaughter who's still in school. She hates it. I loved school. My husband, though, he says I went to a resort because our school, we had a big thing. It was like a street that ran under all of our buildings, and that was the nuclear protection area. You would go down there for somebody nuked duck and cover. That was our thing. Duck and cover and run to the shelter, which was all up under the schools. It was the size, the hallways, if you call them that, were the size of the roads. And they connected all the buildings. And our high school is bigger than most colleges I see in Georgia. So he has a point. Cheers. Gotta go do stuff. A little bit of OJ so I don't squeak. I might leak. So if you see me, talk to me about it. Tell me, tell live chat. Tell somebody. Pop up here. Come on and say hi. I'll throw something up here. But just come and say hi. It's not been done. I was trying to look for a few I throw up there myself. It's not been done. And we need to do this. We need to say, hey, there's a lot of us here. We want to do something, but we're too old now. But we can talk. We can, so far, use YouTube freely. I don't know. I haven't used Instagram or big TikToks. I like the Trump Thump Bump song. I learned to do the dance. That's what I was mentioning about in my rehab, my physical rehab. And I went in one day what, about a month ago, and the Trump Thumb had just come out. So I turned it on and I did the dance, and I was teaching the nurses the dance. We had a blast. But then my guy came up and says, I don't think you have to come in for therapy anymore if you can dance like that. And then I also taught him War Horse. And I miss him because I haven't been going now. I just go see my general physician now. But I miss doing that because for that, I think it was 5, 6 weeks. Every time they saw me, just go twice a week or maybe 3 times a week. They'd see me, and I always brought brownies and cupcakes, and and then we were dancing, and it just drove them nuts. We'd be off in the waiting room. I had a great time. They always get mad at me because I used to volunteer at my VA, but when I was so severely injured, I can't do that anymore. But when they see me, and this is be several different areas, including the general women's section. Why won't you come back? You're so funny. It's so boring in here. I was like, get up, say something, talk to somebody. They all just stare at their phones. And yeah, if everybody's kind of like that when I sit down, even I don't bother to say anything anymore because everybody seems to be so engrossed, in what they're doing. Um, I think it's a pity. And some days, I wish that it would be like the 2 weeks after the hurricane hit and the city went down. It was when I was supposed to have the massive surgery done, and I couldn't get there. Oh, well, actually, I think my husband almost got me there, but there was no surgeons and stuff there. The nurse that was stuck there kept calling me, how close are you? We're still in the neighborhood. There's so many trees down, and it was still actively storming. We were still getting tornadoes and things as my husband's trying to get me to the hospital. And she was like, go home and call me back when you're home safely, because if you could make it here, there's nobody to do the surgery. And our power is down to only the emergency room on the generator right now. And we're like, okay. And it was difficult to move me. It was so much pain. And so he finds his way back. We're still in the suburb, and he's amazing. He's amazing. But he got me back home, got me in the house. And for that 2 weeks, it was September. So in Augusta, Georgia, it's very, very hot. And I can't breathe after it's 80 something. And so he managed to get fans going and cooling going and kept the refrigerator running and all this stuff. And TV's running. Of course, we didn't have cable, but we had local TV, which was cool enough. I watched some shows from the 70s. And my son sent me a box of little puzzles and so forth, and sent me like 20 books because I'm a book reader. And it was just, so they helped me to kind of not go crazy. It was really rough that first 3 or 4 months because I could not really do anything. So, and I'm never going to get over it. They tell me I won't get back to 100%. My age is not helping me here. But they were shocked when I started doing line dancing and physical therapy. So maybe I got better than they thought. I think a lot of people that I had on my other channel that I've talked to move them to this channel were surprised because I had gotten up and I let everybody know when I was very well drugged that I could not get up there and broadcast until after things had taken place. And I didn't know it would take almost 3 years. And in the meantime, I still came back on the second year, even though I was in therapy of it, on a new channel. So I've been trying to get to everybody. So I hope if you see me, you'll tell everybody, or you'll come see me yourself. Start your own channel and talk to everybody. It's a hoot. It really is. I don't know why my friends and family won't do it, other than I have Wicked Lady Hippie at the bar is how you pull it up on YouTube. And they think that hippie and bar means they're stoned and drunk. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of why I put that there. Wicked is my Army nickname. And for some reason, it has followed me all my life. My son set up my Facebook and everything for me. It's all under Wicked. So I'm Wicked. He said that's because I could make it through boot camp with 6-footers and still hold my own. I was like, man, my eyelashes hurt until 92. So like 40 years later, whatever. I hope it's been entertaining because that's what I do up here. I do this live. I don't edit it unless I see that there might be somebody there, or because YouTube has said, yeah, we don't like there might be music in the background or something to that effect. If you do want me to drop a video, let me know. But if you want me to drop that video, you've probably already seen it. So we can just talk about it. We don't have to go through hoops to do all of that. That's why I have a bar. And that's why I broadcast from my bar, because it's a lot of fun. And I went through such a health scare, that I found, and I've died 3 times, and it made me mad when I came back every time. Like, really, this stuff hurts. So it's been an eye opener to come back this time, and I was severely wounded, and it took, like I said, a long, long time to get back to my feet. But I gotta say, guys, life is worth something. And when you realize you might not make it, or you actually are, a vegetable, what have you, and you do come out, life is very different. The colors are brighter, the people are brighter, and you don't want to lose what time you have. And I don't want to find that I had access to this kind of material, to this kind of equipment, to the fact that I can broadcast to the world live. I didn't want to let that go, even though it's still technically an experiment to me. I look back on some of the earlier ones, and I'm way down here and stuff. It's cringeworthy, I admit. I don't pick a particular topic unless, again, someone asks me to do so. Again, you can pick any topic. I could talk you into next week about the ghost I saw last Friday, or I could talk to you about the Trump thump and how pretty cool it is. It don't make a damn to me what we talk about. That's the hippie thing. You get to sit down, you're in the circle, we'll pass one of the pre rolls around. Or maybe you could just have a cigar like me. But in the meantime, I see my time is coming up. And by now, my husband would be going, okay, are you fine? Are you drunk yet? Because he's an ass. At 71. He'll be 71 this month. And he could be an ass. He's a great guy and almost makes up for it. Quite. A little bit. Mm. But as a matter of fact, I'm kind of in a hurry because, like I said, I ran around yesterday in the rain. I got all that done. Now it means housework because I have cats. And I never realized it after I lost my chows and my husky that it was going to be like this with cats. We ended up turning into a cat shelter. There were so many that were born. They were being thrown out in plastic bags from a cul-de-sac. We did have a forest in an L around us on one side in the backyard. All of that was taken out by Hurricane Helene. We were lucky; it only destroyed my hothouse. It did not get my 2 storage areas. One's like a red barn with the white piping. The other was just a small plastic one, but had all the Christmas. It didn't get that. Didn't get any of the patio tables. It didn't even move. This was so wild, but I know tornadoes being from Chicago. It didn't move any of that stuff. Didn't move the chairs. Didn't move the grill, didn't move any of that. And on the front porch, I had another table and chairs, and I had like another set of iron furniture on the other end of the porch, and a big glass coffee table out there. It took the bench out, and we found it in the neighbor's yard, like way at the end of the cul-de-sac. But that's it, and it's because it was like a kite, because it had the benching and it was small mesh for iron. So it took that. It didn't hurt it a bit, but it took that off the porch, but left the glass and the other chairs, plants and things. It didn't touch any of that. And my husband was just freaking because it was all coming down while we were home. But he had parked the RV and the pull-up RV beside the house on the side that it turned out that the tornadoes had come through one side in the back this way, but the main force of the wind, the rain, and straight winds were hitting our house on the other side, on this side, which is where the master bedroom and everything's located, where I was. And I was incapacitated, and he was running through the back door, the front door, and it was being torn off. And, he still, and I do too. I believe that because we had a big boat on the other side of the house, it ripped the wiring from the wall, but it hit the boat as it came down, and the boat was flipping, but it flipped toward the house. So it didn't pull the wiring completely out. It just put a hole in our house. And on the other side, we couldn't believe it. There wasn't even much damage to the RVs that were there, but that definitely sheltered that part of the house. Neighbors and stuff had tons of damage on both the back path and the front side path. We were lucky. Like I said, just the hot house came down. It makes me mad still because My husband had built that for me, the wood floors and all that in there for me. But again, we were lucky. We had so many trees down on our property, but it didn't hit our house and it didn't hit our neighbors' homes. This is a suburb. So your neighbors maybe 60, 80 feet from you, their whole home. Um, and us being the cul-de-sac, again, we were lucky. Neighbors across the street, there was a lot of the people we knew their houses had been very badly damaged, trees coming down and on their homes. We were helping people as we could because I couldn't get up. I had to be carried to a wheelchair, and then so here I was. We were back home, and my husband is going door to door because we know our neighbors and trying to help people. And at one point, we had a lot of the neighbors in our house because it had been damaged, and we had the generator on, and I could, you know, through my husband, we could make hot chocolate and coffee, and we had juices and sodas, so that people could reach people at some point because it happened in the middle of the night. And we were only told by the news stations that it would be a slight rain event. So no one was prepared. Nobody sought shelter. This just happened, and I was wheeled in so I could kind of be the hostess and try and talk to people who were weeping, who were scared. Some people they had pets that just they didn't know if they were okay because the homes were damaged and the pets weren't home. They got out and they were freaked. So my husband's trying to find people's animals and so forth, So it was one heck of a time, and we were down for 2 weeks. But my husband got me through that, and I'm still really grateful to him for that. Because nobody really, after we got everybody settled and they could get home, he helped them put tarps on buildings and cut up trees and get them off. And so he was a real hero. He really was. Although I wasn't too heavy because I was sitting at home by myself and I can't move. But he would jump through, as make lunch or what have you. But he kept us going. And I mean, everything was shut down. You couldn't get gas or you couldn't do anything. There wasn't anything that was not damaged or at least off. All power was down in Augusta for 2 weeks. So you can imagine that, like those who didn't have it, they had to go. Even my son did. Finally, after 2 or 3 days, he packed his daughter and his wife and they went to Athens, where it hadn't been damaged. No damage. They had a lot of wind problems, but not enough damage to take the city down and get a hotel room, and their grocery stores were open. I thought we were so smart. When I got injured, we had all the places Kroger and Walmart to deliver. And here I grabbed litter and more food, but not enough to go for 2 weeks, only for 2 or 3 days with what we had. And so my husband finally gets enough gas and he's running around where my son says, this one's open, that one's open. So for 2 weeks, he would go all over the place to different cities to get things like litter, cat food, things like that, because we also had all the sheltered ones outside. And luckily, they got up underneath the RV and they were fine in the big RV because he had seen them with the flashlight. And we fed them under there because the rain event didn't stop for a little while. So it's been an exciting couple of years, and I do hope that everybody who sees me, I hope I didn't waste your time. I'm about to leave, and I hope you come and see me. Like I said, live chat, comment, anything. Uh, I try. I don't have a set time again, guys. You might want to hit the subscribe button because I'm not really good about time lately either. I do this when I have a chance. I'm on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if you do subscribe, it's free, of course. You can take it off in a second, but you'll get a little beef and you'll know, oh, the drunk lady's on. So in the meantime, try to stay healthy, try to stay great. Uh, we hippies unite, man. Let's work this like we did in the 70s. Maybe we could teach the next generation the things that they need to be taught. It's something to think about. In the meantime, peace out, guys.